Lie on your back. Sense your connection to the floor. Notice the point of pressure on the back of your head. Is it somewhere in the middle or a little to the left or the right? Don't fix anything, just notice. Move your awareness a little bit lower to the arch of your neck. Sense how high is the highest point in the arch of your neck, off the floor. Move your awareness to between your shoulder blades. And how are your shoulders resting? Notice any differences from the right to the left side. Notice your left arm. And how is it lying on the floor different from your right arm? What parts of your hands are on the floor, touching the floor, and what parts are lifted off? And notice the direction of your palm. Where is it facing? Bring your attention to the back of your ribs. Sense your lower back. And your buttocks. Scan down your thighs to your knees, the space behind your knees, your calf muscles, your ankles, and where is your left foot touching the floor? The back of your left foot. And is it different or the same from the right foot? Notice which directions the front of your feet are pointing. Now bend your knees so your feet are standing. Sense yourself in this new configuration. The difference of the bottom of your left foot on the floor and your right. Now do a very tiny movement. Now, leaving the front of your right foot where it is, you could say gluing it to the floor. Move your right ankle a little bit to the right and land it, and then move it back to neutral, to center, where it was before, and land it. We'll be doing this movement slowly, gently, and repeatedly. Sense what it is to lift your right heel and move it just a little bit slowly to the right. Only go so far as is comfortable and land it. And then move it back to the center. Your knee will stay in the same place, somewhere above your right foot. It doesn't move in or out, but it will be affected by the movement. So just notice when you lift your heel and move it slowly and gently to the right and land it, what do you sense in the rest of your leg? Let's start with your lower leg. And see how high up you can feel this movement of moving your right heel to the right and back to the center. In your upper leg, can you sense something in your pelvis? In the middle of your chest? The weight of your shoulders on the floor, how is it affected when you lift your right heel and move it slowly and gently, a little to the right, land, and then back to the middle? All right, stop. Sense yourself. Notice any differences from just having done this one movement. And now make this a similar movement with your right foot, with your right heel. The front of your right foot glued to the floor, and move your heel to the left. A little bit to the left, slowly and gently. Start very small and very slow at first. Was one side easier to move to than the other? Left or right? What do you notice is different moving your heel to the left as opposed to the right? And notice the same areas, say the lower leg, upper leg. How high up do you sense this movement of your heel and then back to neutral, back to the middle, to the left, land, and back to center. Sense your hip joints, your middle chest, your shoulders, and does your head move? When you move your heel a little bit to the left, land, and then move it back to the middle, what does your head do? If nothing, that's okay too. And just keep repeating this movement and being aware of yourself, breathing, and stop. You can lower your legs and take a rest. Reassess your connection to the floor. Notice any differences you feel in your right and your left foot, leg, side. Check in with your breathing. Just allow it to happen. Bend your knees, put your feet on the floor, like before. Now, this time, glue your heel to the floor and move the front of your right foot a little bit to the right. So the front of your right foot will point a little bit more to the right and land, and then back to the center and land. Lifting the ball of your foot and the toes moving to the left, land. Small, gentle movement. Notice your ankle, your knee, which should be staying pretty much in the same place. It's just a movement of the foot, the ankle, the heel, but it will affect the rest of yourself. So sense that. Where else do you sense a ripple of this movement? In your pelvis, in your lower back. Come back to the middle and pause. Now make the same movement with your heel glued to the floor of your front foot. Make a movement to the left and back to the middle. How is this different? How does this feel different from moving to the right? Small, slow, gentle movement to the left, back to center. Leave that, lower your legs, and take a rest. Bend your knees so your feet are standing. Now let's move to the left foot. We're going to do the same thing, where you glue the front of your left foot to the floor and slowly move your left heel a little bit to the right, land, lift back up and head to the neutral point, the center, and land. And notice, how is it different on this foot as it was from the right? Lifting your left heel off the floor and slowly, gently, starting small, move it to the right, land, sense what's going on in your upper leg, your lower back, your neck, moving your heel to the right, back to the middle. Check in with your breathing. Make sure you are. Pause. Notice the difference in your foot, in your left foot, just from having done this. And now gluing the front of your left foot to the floor, move your heel to the left. Land. And back to center. And land. Moving your left heel to the outside, landing. Notice the movements in your leg and your back, all the way up to the back of your head. Does anything change? Does anything move? As you move your left foot a little to the left, land. and move back to the center and land. What do you do with your eyes as you're moving your heel? Do your eyes move with the heel? Move back to center, land, extend your legs, and take a rest. Notice the difference in your right foot and your left foot. Which direction are they pointed? What parts of your heels are touching the floor? Sense your calf muscles behind your knees, your pelvis. Check in with your breathing. Bend your knees so your feet are standing. Now we're gluing the heel, the left heel, to the floor. We're going to move the front of the left foot a little bit to the right. Landing, lifting back up, and moving to the center, to neutral, and land. And repeat that. Your knee stays generally in the same place, but this movement will affect your whole self. So see what else you sense in your leg, your shoulders, your eyes. As you move the front of your foot a little to the right, land. Then back to center, back to neutral, land, and again. But no movement is the same. It's less about repetition than it is about your awareness of the movement. Notice the direction your chin is pointed. When you move the front of your foot to the right and land, does your chin move in space? Even a little bit? If not, that's fine too. Just notice. Come back to neutral, back to center. Pause. Notice your breath. And move the front of your left foot a little bit to the left. Land. Lift again and bring it back to center, back to neutral, and land. And repeat that movement. Noticing any differences in the movement from the right to the left. Was one side easier to move to than the other? And when you get back to the center, land, but instead of pausing and stopping and going back to the left, lift your foot, the front of your foot, and move to the right. And back to center. The heel still glued to the floor, lifting your foot to the right, back to center, and then to the left, and back to center. So we're just doing both the right and left movements consecutively. Move to the left, slowly, gently to the center, and to the right, to the center. Pause. Now we're going to do a similar thing with the heel. So lift the left heel a little bit off the floor, move it to the right, and land. And when you move your heel up to the neutral point, back to neutral and land, continue to move your heel, left heel a little to the left, land, and back to neutral. So we're going back and forth, left and right, but still landing in the middle before we move on to the next side. Pause. Now let's go back to the right foot. Glue your heel, the right heel, to the floor, and move the front of your right foot to the right and land, back to the center, land, and then over to the left, landing. So we're going from the left to the center, to the right, back to the center, to the left, back to center, back and forth. Slowly, gently, sensing your whole self as you make this movement. Pause. And gluing the front of your right foot to the floor, move your right heel a little to the right, back to neutral, a little to the left, back to neutral, back and forth, slowly and gently. Keep breathing. Notice the weight shift in the rest of yourself. Notice the front of your foot turning but not moving, not lifting. And relax. Lengthen your legs. Sense your connection to the floor. Notice your breathing. Notice the direction your feet are pointing. And where do your heels touch the floor? Notice the space behind your ankles, your calf muscles, your knees, thighs, buttocks, up to your lower back, middle back, shoulders. Sense the configuration of your arms. Your hands. The space behind your neck. And where is the point of pressure on the back of your head to the floor? Gently roll your head left and right a few times. Stop that. And that is the end of this segment of the lesson. Thank you.